Hi, good afternoon, morning, and lunchtime, however things for your day look. I know that that could be quite the the hours waiting for us to get here was kind of difficult, so I appreciate you waiting. My name's Liz, or Elizabeth, either way. I go by both, and I am your Washington's EAP Clinical Director. By trade, I am a marriage and family therapist, and I'm glad to be here with you all today. I'm going to go ahead and get started. It looks like there's some chat, and if you guys can't hear me or something doesn't go, or if you have any questions, please just go ahead and put that in the chat for us. I will try to um, go as quickly as we can, just because I know that we started late and you guys are at lunchtime right now. Okay, so let's just go ahead and talk about what Washington State's EAP is. Washington State's EAP has been around for 50 years, and this is something that our state has as a requirement that is legal and part of our RCWs that we have a dedicated service to help everyone when there is things that they may need for their well-being and for ensuring that they are feeling that they can be taken care of, not just as a employee, but also for their own well-being of their families and how their work-life balance can be attached to one another and can support that. We are a dedicated local team, and that means that we have all of our service providers here in Washington, and also we have some ability to help nationally when we have some people who may be out of state. Um, we are a public service for employees, and we support public service employees and our extended into the universities and such. Um, Also, not only do we support the employees, but we also support family members to help them to identify and resolve anything that might be of a personal concern or professional concern, because as we know, we can always see there's an affect at home that can also make it an effect at work. Our model is that we are a virtual program. I know it says primarily, and that is for a good purpose. That is because we also can accommodate when we have the ability, and we have the resources available that we can do in person. Typically, these are things that you would find um, are things like grief debriefs and organizational consults. We do go to the organization for a community-based setting. If there was a need and we could accommodate, there is always a possibility that our therapists could potentially meet up with clients in the community at their place of work. However, our network providers, they are on their own, they do their own approach, and they have their own practice models. And that might be one of the places that you would find an in-person. However, our in-house therapists, our in-person programming is all virtual. Right now, we still have an office. That's typically just where we have an address to get things. We have our core hours of 7:30 to 5:30. However, we do have crisis situations that happen, and we wanted to make sure that there is the ability to be reached when that occurs. Our contact number and website are located at the bottom of the screen. This is where you'll find all sorts of resources, and you will also find your referrals for care. We just launched a new website, and it's fantastic. I love the ease of it. It's just absolutely wonderful, and I encourage you to take the time to check it out. So here's our structure. We have our EAP staff. They provide program management, operation support, education and awareness, and also they do these types of things, right? When we talk about what our EAP staff does, we go and we do presentations to help support. Our clinical staff completes our mental health, and within the mental health, they do intake assessments, counseling, referrals, resources, management consultations, on-call services, and critical incident response to services. Our EAP clinical staff will complete 3 sessions of brief interventions of mental health as our model, and we have a intake that occurs before the 3 sessions. We also have contracted providers. This is our provider network, and they also provide the same care and services as our EAP clinical staff. Our services, intakes, assessments, short-term counseling, and referrals. A lot of our short-term counseling is in the brief models, typically a solution focused, where we are attempting to complete sessions that can help rebalance and support the employee in their time that they need for getting to a place where they were before. So you want to increase their ability to function and be able to get to where they have that same performance that they had before they needed the short-term counseling. We have referrals as well because sometimes people are looking for, or because of whatever incident that may be occurring, they need longer term therapy. And that would be something where we would help navigate the referral system. We do 24/7, 365 days support. So this is going to be where we have some critical care and our crisis interventions. I want to really make sure to stress that we are not a crisis intervention hotline. This means if your employees are feeling like they are suicidal and it's imminent, we would encourage them to call the 988 hotline or get to a hospital immediately for immediate imminent care needs. We do critical incident management and response. If there is an unfortunate incident that occurs, we will come and we will help support that. Organizational consults. This might be when there's a component of the organization that needs some support, we can support that. We also have education, awareness, and we have resources, webinars, and trainings. And you can look those up again on our new launched website. It's a lot more easy to navigate, and I really do stress that I hope that works out for everyone quite well. Our work-life resources, including legal services and financial consultations, those are absolutely fantastic, and that includes wills and includes those legal sources that happen when you do get a will. They can help you with all sorts of financial consultations that you might need. I don't like to assume what could possibly be happening in someone's life because everyone has things that occur. So that would be where we could help navigate getting those resources and services. So intakes, assessments, short-term counselings, and referrals, we've talked about this. It's solution-focused problem identification and clarification. For employees and household members, including all the dependents in your home. So when we're talking with the UW, this includes everyone in your home. This includes your dependents that are going to be even minors. So this might include some extra releases of information to support navigating. And also, we do have this for you. This includes 3 sessions per issue. So that means if you're having an issue and you call us because you're having some anxiety, and we do our 3 sessions, and then you're still having some issues with another type of concern where you're having a hard time communicating with someone, or your relationships are in need of working and navigation, we can do another 3 sessions. We do an online intake form. It's a self-scheduling appointment program for your intakes. Your intake sessions are with a master's level competent clinical counselor with our EAP network and providers. We do screen for different types of needs, and these evidence-based assessment tools will be utilized during the intake. And during that intake, we have resources and referrals if there is something that is a specific need that you may have, such as if there was chemical dependency, or if it was relationships with marriage and you had a specific need, if there was a cultural component where you would really like to see somebody who understands your culture at a far better placement than somebody who we have in-house. Another one would be if there was trauma-informed care that needed to occur, or adoption specialists. These are some of the types of concerns that are pretty standard that we would see in our referral system. And this is just a list of types of concerns. There is definitely a lot more that may be part of your needs and assessments in your workplace. So we have work and life changes, stress management, financial and legal concerns, relationship improvement. And I would like to stress that relationship improvement does not just have to be within a marriage. It could be within a couple. It could be um, relationship improvement with an employee, a staff member, a colleague, maybe a parent. So it does not just have to be that one type of relationship. I feel like that's really important to navigate. Family and parent issues, grief and loss, domestic violence, anxiety and depression, substance misuse, bullying and harassment, crisis support and management. So this is how to expect your time with our EAP counseling to occur. We submit the intake form. This is something that the client does. It goes online. And then there is a self-scheduled appointment. Then we speak with the EAP counselor, and at that point, schedule an appointment with the staff counselor, which is in-home therapy sessions with our in-house counselors, or we would refer to our network providers. And then we meet with the staff counselor or the network provider for up to 3 sessions. I would like to navigate this component right here with our network providers because there has been questions around our network providers. If there is the unfortunate effect that one of our network counselors does not get back to you in a timely manner, or your employee has shared this, it's a great opportunity to ask them to call us back, email our EAP so that we can help navigate supporting finding them another provider to get them the services that they are in need of. We want to make sure that everyone is seen in a timely manner. So here's the steps. We go to the EAP's website, and then we go to the employees page, navigate to get started with the individual counseling or get started with relationship counseling. We complete and submit the client's intake form, and then we select the type of intake and our desired time. We intend the intake appointment, and that intake appointment, the counselor will help support navigating you to where you need and want to go. And then you will receive referrals and or resources from your intake. All covered employees have access to the in-the-moment crisis counseling no matter the time of the day, including weekends and holidays. During the week, we have our counselors that are on call, and these counselors will navigate supporting in that crisis moment. We also have an on-call off hours person who will navigate that, and also myself, the clinical director, and our program director, we also are on call after hours to help support the time off for our team and ourselves and ensuring crisis management is taken care of for everyone who needs that. So when you have a crisis and you need to call for our 24/7 support, call the number on this page, 877-313-4455, and you will be connected with the crisis on-call service. Um, you will speak with a clinician and request the follow-up from your EAP office if it's desired. You're going to speak with the EAP clinical staff about access to additional services. So when you do call an on-call crisis, there will be a connection to our programming so someone can give you a call back and help get you going for further access. So, just having that one call, we can ensure the safety and that your crisis has been taken care of. Organizational consult and support. So these are kind of an awesome thing. I think these are really fantastic to help with the overall fluidity of a program. Um, and I feel like this is a great space to help to ensure that everything is flowing for the health and well-being of everyone in the organization. So we're going to have some guidance and problem-solving supports, resources, employee referrals, performance and disciplinary issues can be discussed, substance misuse, managing change, conflict, domestic violence. There's also just the conflicts in the workforce that could be occurring with maybe changes to the dynamics of a team. That might be something that would occur. Recently, with the way that the world is looking, there's been a lot of concerns with jobs being there. If someone is going to have to look for another job and the stress that comes with our nation's politics and the politics of the world, sometimes even that can just really have a big impact on everyday life. We also work with death and illness in the organization, and maybe something that just is a concern on another level for death and illness. We have mental health, and that would be health and well-being too. So we can do some work with, supporting the ability to manage all of the different things that come within balancing your life, stress and anxious moments, and being overwhelmed, because I feel like that's kind of a big thing right now. There's a lot of people who are just very overwhelmed. We want to work on anytime we have crisis and suicide prevention and suicidality. So that's a difficult conversation to have, and being comfortable in the ability to have space around protection of suicidality and that prevention, and also a postvention is really essential to ensuring the safety of people in your network. And also other safety concerns. We want to make sure that if there's anything of where people are feeling threatened, that is also something that we could support with. Organizational consultations, this is how they work. It is submitted on our organizational consult referral on the same place we do your individual referrals, except for it will be under organizational consult. And within a business day, you'll receive a receipt for your request, and the on-call EAP counselor will follow up with you to schedule a time for that consultation. This is another place where we utilize our on-call EAP counselors. We feel like it's a great opportunity to have them on crisis calls, and also to be able to get in touch and complete these organizational consults as they come in. During that consultation, there will be an identification of the concerns and the impact, and discussions of any resources or referrals that we may have on us at that moment, or things that you might be requesting. And then there'll be an identification of the next steps to help support this presenting problem. Some examples of what these consultation concerns may look like. Employees are working excessive hours even when I've encouraged them to take time off. So this would be something where it's communication, psychological safety, and I even would like to encourage saying wellness on this. I hear from an indirect report that a supervisor is bullying them. I think the supervisor is tough, but a bully, I'm unsure. So this would be disruptive behaviors, tough bosses versus bullying. What is the difference between a bully and somebody who is communicating in a way that might not be being received well by everyone? So there could be a definite space where that would be a good opportunity to have some good reflection and communication skills as well. A new employee is still in their probationary period and are declining, they already have declining performance. They share a lot about their personal information. It seems chaotic. I want to help. So, boundaries, formal referrals. Again, this is where I like to always put in, this is more likely than not my marriage and family therapy component of what I do, but I feel like this is a great place to say, if we have boundaries, we're also talking about relationships. That relationship between a a therapist and their client is a therapeutic relationship. So we have a boss and an employee relationship, and maybe some different ways to reflect and communicate their needs in that and what their actual performance is looking like and what it needs to look like. And a longtime employee has unexpectedly died, and we need counselors on site right away. That is a critical incident. So this is where we see critical incidences. Critical incidences are typically something when there has been an event that has occurred, such as the death of an employee. Maybe it's a traumatic experience that has happened within the workforce, or even I feel like the Oso mudslides are a good example of what could also be something that's an environmental um, event that has caused a lot of critical need. So organizational consults, we already talked about this a bit. You're going to go to our website, and then there's a supervisory page. I think I might have skipped that part and said go directly to the organizational consult, but we're going to go to supervisors and organizational consultation processing, and then we're going to request that consult. It's very simple. There's not a lot of questions. I feel like it's easy to do in those times of high need where you just have a lot going on, and it's just a little bit difficult to be able to um, sit and do a lot of thinking when you're trying to get something done. So I do feel like that's a good use of your time when you need to have that done. Um, I would hope that that wouldn't dissuade you from getting an organizational consult, because it is relatively easy to be able to do. And then it's going to be someone from our EAP programming who will contact you and ensure that you have all your ways that you would like to be communicated with on your requests. It's really important that we have the ability to get a hold of you, and whomever you may be requesting we search and help support. This is what it looks like. It's very simple. We just have our required fields. There's just a couple of them, but again, you're going to want to make sure that you have a phone number and an email address, and then what type of nature of your concern. If you feel like it doesn't show on here, what you're really trying to reflect, it's always okay to just put other or a critical incident if you can't find a name for your presenting problem. That can be figured out when you get in touch with our EAP program staff. They will be able to help navigate that for you. So I wouldn't be too concerned about the nature of the concern. Just make it as best as you can. Critical incident responses. This is where you would find that our EAP counselors would definitely be deployed to the program as needed when we can. Um, we are always available to help when there's been a traumatic workplace incident and to provide relevant information to grief, loss, and trauma, as well as guidance to employees and leaders on the accessing EAP services. When we deploy to a critical incident response, we're going to go with a lot of different resources for you. We're going to have our providers, of course, and everyone, as we stated in the beginning, are trained mental health providers that are licensed in Washington State. They're going to provide support and guidance to the leadership after this event. We're going to help the leaders to support their employees, and we're going to identify the immediate needs of the employees and the leaders. And this is again where we provide the resources. We will ask, what are some of the things you'd like us to bring to help support you? We would encourage you to have a couple different avenues of support already there. And and then we also will identify the on-call support to affected individuals as needed. So if there was a critical incident and you feel somebody would be more affected than another, that would be a time when you have that meeting initially with the provider and the leadership that you share what that might be. And then there'll be a facilitated group session. And for our critical incidents response, these are our steps that we're going to do. Again, to the supervisory page, go to organizational consults, and you're going to request the consultation. And this is the one where you're going to, if you had a critical incident, that would be one of our presenting problems. Once that you have communicated that referral and the EAP on-call counselor makes contact with you, then you're going to discuss this incident, the status, what your needs for support are, and any resources we can provide, and develop the plan for action for follow-up. We also have our work-life resources when it's not finding a counselor that you need right away. There could be other components of your life that you need balance for, and that's why we have our web resources, our legal assistance, and our financial counseling. And these can all be found on the website. Again, and also when you call in or if you have a referral, we can also help address what these problems are, and we can help you to navigate connecting you to the exact cares that you may be looking for. When I was at the Health and Wellness Fair with UW, we had quite a few people who were asking about the legal advice from attorneys and really getting those affairs in order, such as their wills and last testaments, because it's just one of those things we tend to put off as for infinitely that needs to be taken care of. And we also have the financial counseling, so free financial counseling for financial expert care by phone when you are in need of financial care and support. This is our release of information and your organizational code. So every one of our programs that we have connections to have a code. Yours is very simple. It's UW. And so when you go in and you're asking for support, you're going to want to make sure you put that in there for accessing care. It's just a U and a W. It's perfect. Um, and that gives you all of your resources and all of the things that are associated with the care and connection that we have in our provider network for your programming. So this is where Carly does a lot of the work, and I'm taking over for her today, but she does a lot of these. Amazing job. I listened to her last week doing this, and I'm sure she did it, probably has a lot better time doing these than I do, but she does all of the education and awareness programming for our EAP program. So there's a live and on demand on a variety of topics. And I know we're doing one on stress and wellness, and I think how to support people with furloughs. We've done a lot of those recently, not just here, but along the lines of a lot of different programs. It's a big deal right now. And so, you know, when it was COVID, that was a big deal, and we did a lot of work around that as well. We do organizations to specific groups and then resources and publications. You can find a lot of our brochures and flyers and newsletters on the website in our publications. I really like to have a lot of great resources to give to people when we are talking about education and awareness. So, one of the things that's really a highlight of importance is ensuring that the resources we have in the group services and publications are relevant to what's going on right now, and that they change with the ever-changing needs and space that we're in. Suicide prevention and intervention. Here's our resource page for that. And I feel like you guys are getting a great opportunity to hear lots of wonderful things about our program. And there is going to be a few changes when you go onto the website of how these things look. And also, you'll be okay to find them all on our resource page. And there won't be a lot of changes because these things are very important. I feel like when we receive a critical incident, we are already at the space where if you have lost someone to suicide, what to do and how to help a loved one, how to help a coworker. These are really essential, and I'm really glad that you guys are able to connect and get these resources quickly, even when you haven't been able to complete an org consult. And here is our information for Washington State EAP. The first one is our email, and that is always something that is being monitored, and it's very easy to get back to. Our phone number and our website, eap.wa.gov. And I hope that I went fast enough and not too fast that you guys could all get that information. I tried to go a little faster just because we got off to a very late start.